Where are you? Is it you? No. There it is. Good evening. Welcome back to my channel. Oh my God. No, 1 second, 1 second, 1 second. That's not. There. And that's it. Good evening. Welcome back to my channel. True Crime. That's not the right one. I'm so sorry if you're watching tomorrow. I always get this wrong. Bear with me. Bear with me. I always get this filter. I think it's that one. I think that's the right one. Welcome back to my channel, True Crime with Jess Rose. How are we all? Hope you're all okay out there. This is a live, so I won't be talking to myself. I'm not crazy. Well, a little. But yes, it is a live. Hey Kelly, hey Tiff, how we doing? How are we? Sorry I'm late. I was ready. It just started playing up and it wouldn't let me press live. I don't know what's going on with the hair tonight. How are we? Yes, I think I'm ready. I'm all frazzled this evening because I was all set. I was ready about half an hour ago, and then it all started to go wrong. Hi, Ariane. How are we? How you doing? It's Ariane's night tonight. Hey, Philly's back. How you doing? How are we? We did miss you last week, Phil. It was a bit quieter. What's I gonna say? Yes, it's Ariane's night tonight. She's been asking for this one for a little while. So, yes, I hope you're prepared. Hope you're prepared for this one. It is a child, just to let you all know. But yeah, it's Ariane's evening. Where am I? I'm so frazzled. How are you all? How are we all out there today? Can't believe it's only Tuesday. This week just seems to be dragging already. Good. I'm glad you're okay, Ariane. Where are we? 2 minutes. I've got a question for you all, actually, while you're here. You know this Patreon business that I've set up? Have any of you ever used it? And if anyone's watching tomorrow, could you let me know? Because I don't know what's going on here, sis. I don't know what's happening. It was all right when I looked earlier. Because I've set up this Patreon. But I don't know if I've set it up properly or how it's supposed to look. Like, I need somebody who is like a subscriber. I don't know what the word is, follower, subscriber of a Patreon account. I don't need to know who it is or anything else. I want someone to go in to patreon.com/ that's my new one, Jess Rose 5472. So if you're watching tomorrow, if you could go in, if you are already joined someone else's Patreon, and have a look at mine. Let me know what you think. Let me know if it's been set up half decent, because I just don't even know if I've done it right. I don't know. I don't actually know what I'm supposed to do on it. So a bit of advice on that would be great. That's okay, everyone. That's fine. Yeah, I have no idea. I'm not on anyone's Patreon account. So I always hear creators going, I'm a Patreon. But I never really knew what it was. And then someone was like, why don't you set up a Patreon account? And I was like, I don't even know I'm pronouncing it properly. But I've set it up now, but it's not as simple as you think. Or maybe it is. Maybe I'm just being dopey. Okay, so anyway, we're going to start. This is the heartbreaking Aurore Gagnon. It's French Canadian French. I don't know how. Do you say French Canadian or Canadian French? I'm not too sure how you say it. But there are a lot of French names in this that I have been practicing, that I have listened to people, but from my accent just never seems to get them right. So please bear with me. And if you're like, no, you haven't said that right, give me a shout, and I apologise. Hi Warwick, how are we? So if you are watching tomorrow, I'm going to start now. If we say 5 minutes, I think 5 minutes is always a good way to go, isn't it? Okay, so like I say, it's Ariane's request. It's the heartbreaking Aurore Gagnon story. I've heard it pronounced Gagnon, heard it pronounced Gagnon. So I'm going to say Gagnon. I bet I'm not saying it right. Okay, Gagnon's story. Okay, so let's begin. Oh, it's horrible. It's horrible. Okay, so Aurore's name actually is Marie Aurore Lucienne Gagnon. Okay, but Aurore's, I don't know, it said Aurore is a nickname, but it is down, so I'm presuming it's her middle name. I don't think they've just called it her. But what I've got is Marie Aurore Lucienne Gagnon. Okay. So she was born on the 31st of May, 1909 in Fortierville, Canada. Hey, check me out. Okay. Her parents are Telesphore Gagnon and Marianne Caron. Okay. And they were married in 1906. Now, Aurore has a few siblings. She's got an older sister called Marie-Jeanne, who was born in 1907. She's then got a sister very close in age to her, born in 1910, called Lucina. A brother called George in 1911. And at this point in the story, it's just the 4 kids at the moment. Beautiful family. Gorgeous. Aurore, from what I've seen and what I've watched and the research I've done, she seems quite an outspoken, spunky girl. Very pretty. And apple of her dad's eye at that time. And they were just a very close young family. Okay. That's not the mum, Tiff. That's not the mum. That's not the mum. Karen, Marianne Karen is the mum's name. That's the stepmom. So thank you. Okay, so like I say, beautiful family. Beautiful. No, don't worry. If you're watching tomorrow, I have my sister on the live as well, who updates the information in the comments. So if you're thinking I'm going crazy, that's who I'm talking to. Okay. So absolutely, like I said, beautiful family, really good looking family. Now we come to 1916. Okay. Marianne she's pregnant at the moment, but she's got a cough. She's got quite a bad cough, and given what time frame we're in back then, there wasn't they had to pay. So it used to cost a lot of money to go to get the doctor out or to go to the hospital and stuff. But because this cough had got so bad, it was really running her down. They did get the doctor out to her. And the doctor basically, I think it's TB, tuberculosis. Now, I've got to admit, I didn't really know the history of TB. I just knew it was a needle we had to have in school. But TB was a real killer back then, a real killer. They didn't have a cure for it. And people who got sick from TB rarely came back from it. So, it was a really bad illness, really bad disease. Would you call it a disease? I think you would class it as a disease, I think. But like I say, it was deadly. So the doctor said she's got to go to the hospital. Plus, she was pregnant. So Marianne goes into the hospital. And because we're going back so long, hospital stays are long back then, especially with something as serious as TB. So while she was hospitalised, Marianne, Telesphore at home. Now, Telesphore they lived in like quite a small town type village. And he done a lot. He was a real handyman around the town, so he could build things, make things. They were a very popular family within this very close-knit community. And he worked from morning till night, and looking after the kids and looking after the house. Let's just say he was a very old-fashioned man. Okay. What you would, how you would, the war had just ended. Women were in the home, men were working, providing. That's was the setup. So when Marianne went into the hospital, he was like, "I can't look after the kids. I've got work to do." So Marie-Jean and Aurore went to live with, stay with Marianne's parents, so their grandparents. The younger two, Lucina and George, they went to stay with an aunt, I think. So just while Marianne was in hospital, and obviously Telesphore couldn't look after them. So I'm so sorry, I'm so hot at the minute. I've got myself all really frazzled tonight. So that's where we are. The kids are staying at family, relatives. Telesphore's working, and Marianne's in the hospital. And it would take 3 days to be able to go and visit Marianne. The distance to get to the hospital. So the kids and him would go and visit her, but it was days at a time. It'd take a while. Basically, she was spending a lot of time on her own in the hospital. Okay. Now, let me tell you about a lady by the name of Marianne Hood. So the kid's mum is called Marianne, but her surname was Karen. Now, Marianne Hood, or Howd, I think it's Hood, she was married to Telesphore's cousin. Okay? Yeah, I know it sounds a bit confusing at the minute. It will all tie in a second. Now, Telesphore's cousin, I've got his name once as being Napoleon, but I've only heard it once. So don't, I'm not 100% on that. But Napoleon, if we just say that's his name, which is Telesphore's cousin, he dies of TB. Okay. And they had originally 6 children. They had 4 of them at this point in the story had already died in suspicious circumstances, through various illnesses and stuff like that. So it's like, hang on a minute, what's going on? But there was a bit of a reputation around this Marianne Hood, okay? But she had took a liking to Telesphore when she'd met him. She saw her husband as quite weak, and she seen Telesphore as a manly man, and he looked after his family. She was very jealous of Marianne Karen, and they're married. She just, because Marianne Karen was gorgeous, a beautiful woman, young woman. And Marianne Hood was just you could see she was very envious of their relationship. So when her husband dies and Marianne Karen's in hospital, she takes it upon herself to move herself in to their family home to say she's going to look after the house and the kids. The kids weren't there. And Telesphore, well, he loved his wife, but his wife had been in the hospital at this point for months by now. And they start an affair very, very quickly. It's sickening. It's absolutely sickening, the whole situation. Now, around this time, Marianne Karen, his wife, in hospital. She gives birth to their 5th child, to a little boy called by the name of Joseph. Now, obviously, she's not healthy enough to look after him, so the baby's sent back. Guess who starts looking after little baby Joseph? Oh, Marianne Hood. Marianne Hood. The whole situation's crazy. And Marianne Karen, I'm sorry about this, it's just they've got the same name, so I'm trying to pronounce the surname so you can see who's who. But Marianne Karen's parents, who obviously were looking after the 2 older girls, they brought the baby round to the house for Telesphore to see his son, because he hadn't been at the hospital. And Marianne, who just takes the baby straight away, and she's like, oh, he's gorgeous. It's very odd. It's a really, really odd setup. It really is. So, at this point now, the kids are growing up. They've been at their grandparents for quite a while. Obviously, Marianne Karen's not getting any better. And eventually she passes on. She does pass away. And it's as upsetting as it is for the kids. He's wrapped up in his new relationship now. He didn't really care. He'd lost it for her. She'd been in the hospital at this point. It's coming around for over a year. She'd been there a long time. So he was, he's got his own new life. He's got these 2 lads who are Marianne Hood's kids, the 2 boys that she managed to have left out of her 6. They're helping around the farm or on the land. So he's got quite a little setup here, and she's looking after his baby. So it's a real mad setup. It genuinely is. So, okay, let me give you the date there. Sorry, 6th of November 1917. 23rd of January 2018. So I knew I was going to do it. I knew I was going to get these years wrong. Let me start again. 23rd of January 1918. Sorry, finally got it right. Marianne Karen had died, and she'd been in the Beauport Port Asylum. That's where she'd been. So she's passed. Now, the younger 2 children of Telesphore's, who'd been staying with a different family member, I think it was an aunt, they came back. So now Marianne Hood moved herself on in. She's now looking after Telesphore himself, because he wants to be waited on hand and foot when he gets in from work. She's looking after her own 2 boys. She's looking after little baby Joseph. And then Lucina and George come home. So she's now looking after 5 kids in this home. But she decides to, once Marianne Karen had died, she wraps all her stuff up. She gets rid of all her clothes. She basically gets rid of everything that this woman had ever had in the home, and to make it her own home. She took over. It's a crazy situation, and Telesphore went along with it. He wasn't there from morning to night. He wanted a woman to wait on him hand and foot and to look after his kids. He weren't too fussed. So it's just all crazy behaviour. So, like I say, the 3 of the kids are back now. But on the 6th of November, sorry, I've got the wrong date. But when little Joseph, okay, the baby, when he's 2, he dies, okay, under very suspicious circumstances. He just dies in his bed. The baby just dies in his bed. Followed very quickly by Lucina, the middle daughter. Now, there is a film that's there that passes this off as she ate raw potatoes that can kill you, apparently. But I don't know what excuse was genuinely given. I don't know, because obviously the film, I think it's based on a lot of what happened, but I have seen some things that were done in the film that aren't true to what actually happened. So I don't know what excuse she gave, but that's now 2 of Tellus Four's kids that have died in mysterious circumstances. 4 of her own, remember, 4 of her own died, and 2 of Tellus Four's have died. But we go on. Now, when Marianne had died, do you remember I says when she died in the asylum, there's a funeral, of course. Excuse my smiling, that's not what I'm smiling for. You're about to say it's not, it's more of a grimace, really. Because when she's buried, they wait a couple of days. Now, in the film, it's done straight away, but it would appear that it was a couple of days. They go and get married. They've just buried his wife. Just buried his wife. 2 of his kids have died. And he goes and marries her. So now she's officially his kid's stepmother. He's officially her son's stepfather. It's so messed up. It's so messed up. But now Tellus Four is getting pressure within the village. Now, do you remember I said he was very popular in the village? He was very well known. It's quite a small community. They're kind of questioning his character. He's married his cousin's ex-wife who died. Mitzi, get that. Sorry, get down. He's so sorry. Mitzi's made an appearance. I'm sorry. I've tried to ignore it. He's married his cousin's widow. Whose 4 kids had died. 2 of his own have died. Now we come back to, okay, so this is where we are now. That's all the bits into it. Okay. Now the time we're getting a little bit, they were starting to talk as to why he hadn't brought his 2 eldest girls back. Marie-Jeanne, she just jumped on for no reason and then walked out. God, I thought it was bad with Salem. Okay, so let's start. I'm not meant to do tonight, am I? I'm genuinely not. Okay, if I say okay again, honestly, that's the whole setup. So the town are giving Tellus Four stick, basically, for not having his 2 eldest kids back, which is Marie-Jeanne and Aurore. Okay, so he brings them back, and Aurore straight away walks in to the house, sees all her mum's stuff gone, and she's fuming. She's not happy. Remember I said she's quite an outspoken. She's the second eldest. She's not the eldest. Marie-Jeanne seemed, Marie-Jeanne or Jean, I'm not sure how you pronounce it, but she seemed, even though she's the eldest, she seemed more of she was just going to go along with whatever the situation was. Of course, they were upset about their mum, but it was just, they were all just getting on with it. But Aurore was really upset about the whole thing, especially when you come back home and your brother and sister have died and your mum's died, all their stuff's gone. You've got 2 lads in your house that you don't even know, which is obviously sorry, a shock as well. So yeah, I just, there was a lot going. I'm sorry, have I just seen my sister? Hi, I didn't know you were there. Sorry, I've got another sister joined us this evening. So they caught me off guard there. So come to, where are we? We come to, right, okay. I'm so sorry. Can you all just bear with me 1 second? Just 1 second. I'm just going to get a drink. 1 second. Sorry about that, everyone. I'm sorry. I just had to get a drink there. It's really warm. I think I've really ramped my heating up. Terrible. And I've got so many people watching. I'm so sorry, everyone. I'm really sorry. I'll get it together now. I'll get it together. I've turned my heating up today and I'm sat here and I'm literally, I can see my hair sticking to my face. I'm so sorry. Okay, so let's get back to it. Aurore's not happy. She's not happy at all with the whole situation. She's really not. All her mum's stuff's gone. She's got a younger brother and sister that have passed. And so she's quite she's not welcoming, let's say that, to Marianne Hood. She's not welcoming at all. So there we go. So we come up to there. Now, almost as soon as Aurore comes home, Marianne she just starts on her. She starts abusing her quite quickly. It's not even behind closed doors. Now, as we know, disciplining your child, and we go right back then, it wasn't frowned upon in any way. It was something that was done right up until a few decades ago. You know, it was just a thing that was done. But even the people in the town knew this discipline was going a bit too far, because like I say, it was being done in public as well. Slap here, kick there. You know, they were really starting to clamp down on Aurore in public a bit too much. So people were like, if they're doing this in public, what's going on behind closed doors? Well, let me tell you what was going on behind closed doors. Okay, she would obviously, how it started, she started pouring like hot wax on her randomly for no reason. At this point as well, sorry, there's a bit I missed out. Marianne Hood is now pregnant. Okay, she's pregnant, and apparently she starts to act up when she's pregnant. She starts to go a bit crazy when she's pregnant, so it's said. So her focus is Aurore now, especially seeing as Aurore looks so much like her mum. So just a focus is out for her now. So at one point, she starts encouraging Telesphore as well. She starts bad-mouthing Aurore. Remember, he's out from morning till night, Telesphore is. He's hardly ever there. So when he's coming in, she's bad-mouthing Aurore to Telesphore and going, you know, you need to get your daughter in check. And he's like, look, you're my wife. You're here to look after the kids. You look after them. Remember, they're his kids. They're his kids. So he has enough. He's getting it in the air. He beats her with an axe handle. Where does that come? An axe handle? Where does that even come from? So, he just basically says, "Look, you deal with her. You deal with her. I've done that." You could see when I seen it and I'd researched it and I watched what I'd watched, it didn't look like he was happy to go along with it, but he just wanted a peaceful life, and if it meant beating his daughter to keep his wife quiet, that's what he did. Just crazy behaviour. She urged her to drink detergent. She was trying to poison her as well. So we come up to September 1919 now, and Aurore had this wound on her calf towards the bottom by a foot, like the top of a foot and all a leg. And it was all puffy and swollen. Now, people were asking about it because she was limping. And a couple of lads from the village got the blame for it. But now there's a justice of the peace in this town, and he demanded that they take her to the hospital there. And then, do you remember I said it costs money? Dad didn't want to do it, but he kind of ran that town, really, and everyone kind of answered to him. So he sent them to the hospital, and she, it was severely infected by the time it had got there. And basically what she'd done, Marianne had, she'd hit her with, like, I've seen two statements. Don't forget, it's a very old story, a really old story this is. So, yeah, it's a really old story. Do you know what, everyone? I'm really messing up this story for you. I'm really messing up tonight. I don't know what's going on. I'm so sorry. Are you all lost? I'm sorry. Oh, are you lost in the story? You're lost with me? Are you okay? Is everyone okay? Because I feel like I don't know if I'm getting lost. I don't know if you're getting lost. I feel like I'm really messing up tonight. I don't know what's going on. Are you sure? Is everyone okay for me to keep going? If you're sure, then obviously I'll get it together. But I've just, okay, all right. As long as you're all sure, I'm not sure anyone tomorrow will appreciate it. But if yous are happy for me to carry on going, I'll get it together. I'm sorry, I don't know what's wrong with me this evening. I really want. I'm so ready. I'm so ready. I've known this story for such a long time. I think I do. I think I just need to calm down a little bit. I really do. I don't know what's going on with me this evening at all. All I can do is apologise. You were taking time out your evening. I'm really messing it up. Okay, I'm gonna do. I should grab a vodka. I drink Bacardi actually. Yeah, I do drink Bacardi. That's what I should do. Do you know that was actually an idea? That was an idea for way back when I started this channel. It was going to be called Bacardi and Crime. And then, oh, the emojis. Sorry, Phil. I just thought everyone was lost with the story because I was like, you know what? I'm really messing up. Yeah, Bacardi and Crime. That was originally going to be my idea, and then I thought I can't drink alcohol when I'm telling such a serious story because I always start giggling and all sorts when I'm drunk, and it wouldn't work. That would not work at all. So yeah, so the alcohol went out the window quite quickly. That idea went. Right, I'm gonna carry on. I'm sorry about that little freak out for a second. I don't know, just crazy. I'm gonna do a quick recap, and then I'm gonna carry on and focus. Right. Okay, let me see where I am. While I'm looking down I've got notes in front of me and their dates. And what I've done, I've put so many dates down that I'm losing them as well. That's what I'm losing. I know the story very, very well. I never. Right, okay. I'll tell you a little bit behind the scenes here. Okay, very little bit behind the scenes before I carry on. When I do a story to bring to you, I've probably been researching it probably. When I know it's the one I'm going to do, I will know of a story. I won't know the ins and outs. And then for probably a week beforehand, I'll research it constantly. So I'm watching things, I'm learning things, I'm getting information from here, there, and everywhere. So that's what I do beforehand. Then on the day of the story, so I'm giving you a little behind the scenes here. On the day of the story, I sit down and I go through, I write notes down, which are names, dates, places, things like that. And okay, one and only time I'll do it, but here are my notes that I go through while I'm talking to you all. Okay, so I've only got 4 pages in this one, so it shouldn't actually be that hard to kind of spot where I'm going with it. But these are notes that I have to follow while I'm talking to you all and telling the story. Otherwise, I don't want to mess up dates. I don't want to mess up people's names. And what's gone on in this, I've written way too close together. And so that's why I'm getting very muddled up. So that's, sorry, Warwick. But yeah, that's what I actually have to do. I need to stop working with notes and do it as you say. No, I do. No, do you know what? On the notes that I have, it's not actually the story itself. And what will happen is, because I know the story, I will start off with my notes at the beginning, and I'll give you the names and the dates and begin, and then I'll go off. And then sometimes you'll hear me go, oh, and what it is, I've lost where I am. I've lost my date a specific date that I'm looking for. And that's when you'll hear that happen. But no, the story itself's actually not here. That's not what's there. It's just random bits. So, okay. All right, then let's do it then. Are we ready? I'm going to do it. For the first time, I'm going to do this. I'm going to move the notes. One and only time I'm going to do it. Let's see how we get on. All right? We're going to do it. We're going to do it. Okay. So, at the moment, we are up to... Where did I get up to? I got up to Aurore being in the hospital. Okay. Now, and can I just apologise to one person here, Ariane? I'm so sorry, because this is your story that you've requested. So I am so sorry if I'm not doing it justice. And I'm going to try and do the rest as you would have wanted the story told. So I do apologise, because it is a request Live Tuesday. And she's been asking for weeks, and I've really messed it up. So, okay. So Aurore is now in the hospital. Okay, that's where she is. And the nurses and stuff it's a really bad injury to this girl's leg. She's 10 years old. It's a really, really, I think it was, Kelly. I think that's exactly what happened. It really is. I'm giving my age away. I think that's exactly what's happened. So the nurses are asking what's happened. They don't believe the story. They blame like a couple of lads from around the area, and they're like, this wasn't from that. They didn't believe that it could be just some lads that did it. It was a really, really bad injury on her leg, and like I say, it got infected. It was all red and puffy. She couldn't walk on that leg anymore, and it was just yeah. It's where I am, Kelly. It's just, no, I'm there 100%. And I think that's exactly what happened tonight. Most nights. And so it's a massive injury to her. And no one believes that it's these lads that have done it, these young lads. They don't see it as a kid's injury. But she sticks to it. She doesn't tell anyone who did it or what happened. She doesn't do that. She's in the hospital for a month. This girl's in the hospital. Anyway, she writes to Marianne, because we're going back to the early 20th century, I suppose it would be. So no one's phoning anyone. So she writes to Marianne, and she just basically says, you know, can you come and get me? And they come and collect her. Her leg's all bandaged up. She's limping. It's a really, really bad injury. So remember I said Marianne was pregnant. Okay. When Aurore gets home, Marianne has a son. So now Marianne, I mean, it's a lot for anyone when you think about it. She's looking after Telesphore, who seems like he doesn't get involved with anything, but he does work very hard. It said he does. It said he does that side in the house. She's looking after so Mary Jean. She's looking after Aurore. She's looking after George. She's looking after her own 2 elder boys and then this baby. So there's 6 kids now living in this house. Okay, so that's where we are in this story. 4 of her own kids have died. Well, I don't know why I've done that, because they did die under mysterious circumstances, as did little Joseph and little Lucina. Okay, that's what happened to them. So as soon as she gets back, the beatings start again. And what they do is she's not allowed to share a bedroom with everyone anymore. And they put her in like an attic room, no bedding, no heat, no blanket, no nothing. That's where they leave her. They leave her in like this attic room. She doesn't really get to eat anymore. And I think it was because when Telesphore would come in from work to have his dinner, Marianne was now, she was hiding the injuries from him, you know, because she was really going to town on this girl every day. And she was trying to hide it from him. So even though remember I said the axe handle, he had got involved in these beatings of his daughter, but not to the extent, and he didn't know she was as injured as she was at this point. So what she'd do, she'd allow her to come down and eat at in lunch at around lunchtime. So Aurore and Telesphore weren't crossing paths. Now it's her dad. He wouldn't. I mean, she's just come home from a hospital. She's had a bust leg. Like, why wouldn't you ask? Where's my little? He didn't care. He just didn't care. He was very wrapped up in him and Marianne. You know, I think it was more of a lustful relationship with them two. And he was working. He was working very hard. But while he was out working, the one day, she calls Aurore down to the kitchen, and she ties her up. She ties her up at a chair. And back then, they've got them in Ireland, actually. They're like these argas, I think you'd call them. And they are like coal or wood, I think, like a heater. And what she was getting was like a metal stoker that you would use to stoke the fire, like the fire within this arga. She was heating it. She tied Aurore up in a chair, and she spent from that afternoon till it got dark burning her over and over and over again. Just burning her. And then eventually Aurore couldn't take any more. She passed out. It was said by this point Aurore had actually stopped screaming and crying. Not just within this particular episode, but in general, because the screaming and crying would upset Marianne more, and she'd beat her more if she heard her. So Aurore learned quite early on not to scream. Oh, just awful. So Aurore's carried back up to her room upstairs. Telesphore doesn't say anything. Anyway, the one evening he's sat there and he's having dinner, and he's like, the other kids are there, but he's like, where is she? Where, you know, why is she not here? And as he goes to walk out the house, you see the layout of the house, and I believe the layout in what I've watched is very similar to their layout, and the stairs are kind of come down into the kitchen is the living room. It's not a big house. The kitchen's the living room, and the stairs come down into it, and she's hobbling down. And as she comes down, not only is she's limping, because her leg's still not fixed, She's got all these burns all over her. She's bruised to bits. But she scalped her hair. Look, she literally cut all her hair off to the scalp. Oh, and it's just remember I said she's such a pretty girl and she had this beautiful hair. You know, she looked like her mum, and I think that's why she did it. I think that's why she did it to her. She just scalped her. And he looked, and what Marianne was now saying was that Aurore had a skin disease. She just had a skin disease. Just ignore her. She's got a skin disease. She's fine. It was definitely jealousy. There is a part, again, because it's so fragmented of what I've tried to get basically what is 100% rather than just telling you what's been said on the odd thing that I've looked at. Now, it's funny that you've mentioned jealousy because there is a part actually in the film of this. I will tell you the film at the end. But when Marianne is talking to Telesphore about Aurora, you know, basically saying, you know, she's awful and, you know, she doesn't do anything she's told and everything else. He starts talking about when Aurora was conceived to Marianne. Why you would do that, I don't know. Why a partner would tell a new partner about how they conceived, like the night they conceived their child, I don't know. But he starts saying, yeah, we were really drunk. And, you know, every time I look at Aurore, that's all I remember. I just remember that night. And he's talking about the night he conceived her. So, what are you? That's a red rag to this woman. If she didn't have a reason to turn on Aurore before, she does now. In her head, she wants his girl gone because as far as she's concerned, every time he looks at his daughter, he's reminded of his wife that's died, who he, well, says he loved. The man's questionable. The man is really, really questionable. I just don't know about him at all, but that sent her over the edge. How true that was, I'm not 100%, but it does make sense. It does make a lot of sense of where that jealousy might have stemmed from. Or it was just because she was stunning, or it's just because this woman was crazy. And we already know 6 children have already, you know, under mysterious circumstances have died. So it's all very questionable. So she's cut all her hair off. She's black and blue now. She's spending all her time in this attic room. She's hardly being fed. She's not sleeping because she's on floorboards. She's freezing. It's just, oh, she's just going through hell at the moment. And then I'm just going to look at a date for you because I want to get a date for you. We come up to, okay. All right, we're going to come up to the 11th of Feb, 1929. And while Aurore's trying to get down the stairs, again, her leg, she's black and blue. She's exhausted. As she gets to the bottom of the stairs, she falls. She falls onto the floor. And anyone else, as a stepmother, as a human, you see this child exhausted, battered, black and blue. And she's just fell over in front of you. Anyone else, you would think they'd rush over to the top. What Marianne does is she gets a plank. Again, I've heard it was either a metal bar or a plank of wood. And just like a cricket, like someone playing cricket, and she just comes up, bang, as Aurore's lifting her head. So it catches her right here. She's 10 years old. So, okay. Now, on the 12th of Feb 1920, the next day, Aurore is found dead in that attic room on her own, been left to die. And it was actually her sister, I believe, that found her. Now, in the film, you've got the people in the town who'd known this was going on. It was them that had got involved and intervened and everything else. I'm not saying that that was the case. I think it might have been romanticised slightly in the film that the town had finally, maybe too late, but you know, they'd got involved and tried to help, but I haven't seen anything to say that that's what happened really at all. So but it has been said that she was found by her sister. Okay. Oh, it's just heartbreaking. The autopsy found 54 wounds on her body. The most severe was, do you remember I says with the plank wood, was the wound to her skull, but there was open wounds everywhere. Her cause of death was sepsis and exhaustion. That was what her cause of death was. And her fingers on her hand, both hands, her fingers were facing separate ways. I'm assuming it was from trying to protect herself. It's also said that her hands and her wrists the skin was all ripped off down to the bone. Now, I don't know if that was from that or it was from, don't you dare, sorry, the dog's attempting to do it again. Stop it. Come here. Come this way. Mitzi's back, people. I don't know if it was from trying to protect herself, or it does show in the film her scratching at the door and scratching at the floor. I don't know if it was caused from that. It doesn't say. But yeah, all the skin from her hands right down to her wrist was gone down to the bone, and all her fingers were facing opposite direction. Oh, my God. Just, oh, what a shame for this girl. She was actually buried on the 14th of February 1920. And directly after the funeral, so we have the funeral, and directly afterwards, the police are there to arrest Marianne and, is it Marianne? Have I got her name? Yeah, Marianne. Marianne. Yeah, but Marianne and Telesfor, they were there to arrest them. Okay. Her defense was she goes in a bit insane when she's pregnant. So, you know, sorry, I just won't get pregnant again, and you know, all the kids around me will be fine. But as far as I can gather, she wasn't pregnant with little Lucina and Joseph. Was she pregnant with her 4 kids? I don't know about that, but she's only blaming the fact she was pregnant when she was beating Aurore, but she had the baby and she was still beating her. She murdered her. So where does that come into play? But that was her defense. Okay. But the jury, no. Jury, they seen the pictures of Aurore, they heard everything, you know, about Aurore's story, and they weren't having it. Now, do you know, it just gets worse. It just annoys me a little bit sometimes with these stories. But Marianne was sentenced to death. She was sentenced to death originally. They got it right. And, you know, if we can go by everything that's happened, she's killed 7 children. 7. All the others, okay, might not have been the same way. She'd murdered Aurore. But how did she kill those other kids? You know, there is, during the film, there's one child who's been locked in a barn. Again, I don't know the truth of that. So her 4 kids, I don't know. The younger two, it was, he just died in bed. You know, but Aurore does seem to be the only one that she abused like this, definitely. And I think someone said it earlier. I think it was definitely jealousy. So she was sentenced to death, but there was do-gooders in Canada at the time. I've written do-gooders. I wasn't supposed to say do-gooders. Say what I'm doing today. I don't know everyone's opinion on the death penalty anywhere. Obviously, we haven't got it here in the UK. They have got it in some states in America. I don't know how everyone feels, but when I hear stories like this, it's like. But the people of Canada, not only was she the people of Canada, that it wasn't just because of her, sorry. They just wanted the death penalty got rid of. They wanted it abolished. And because she was a woman, they were like, we can't kill this one. Did you know what she... Did you listen to the story? Did you listen to the case? Did you see what she did? Why don't you go and take a picture, look at the pictures of what happened to this child, and you tell me if she shouldn't go through this. But it was passed, and her death sentence was commuted to life in prison. Okay, that's Marianne. Telesphore, he was convicted of manslaughter. His defense were basically saying he had nothing to do with it. He was working all the time. He was under her spell. And when it was obviously brought up, look, you beat her with an axe handle. So yeah, but she told me to do it. I was just, I'm a mere man. I'm a mere man. And it kind of worked a little bit, because this fella got 5 years. Yeah, I take it back. I take it back now. He got found guilty, but he only did 5 years. I've just ruined it. See, this is what happens when I don't look. I don't look at what I'm doing. He only did 5 years in prison. Telesphore did. Basically, the be-all and end-all of it. That's all he did. And even when he got out, he's still writing to Marianne, confessing his love to her. Confessing his love to her. He was. Oh, God, sickening. Now, Marianne, let's come back to Marianne, because she only ended up doing 15 years, this life sentence. She's done 15 years, but the reason she was released after 15 years is she actually had brain and breast cancer, and she ended up dying a year later. So is that really brutal? I'm sorry. I've what can I say? Maybe I should... I am clapping. I don't care. No, I'm not gonna. I can't feel. Why would I feel sorry for this woman? Why am I being torn about clapping after that? Yes, no, yeah. She died on the 12th of May, 1936. That's what happened. Karma, yes, thank you. That's what happened. She was age 46 when she passed. Okay, with regards to the kids, I've just been asked. The only one I know anything about was Mary Jean, or Mary Jean, should I say. Obviously, being the older sister, I don't know anything about George. Couldn't find anything on him. And I couldn't find anything on her 2 boys and her baby, but that she had with Telesphore. I don't know whether it was just they went into obscurity. I don't know about them. The only one I know about is Aurore's older sister, Mary Jean, or Mary John. Now she died in 1986. That's all I know about her. She died in 1986. I don't know where she went on to live after the fact. I think it was all just shut down by the village after that, because of how bad it was, it gained worldwide notoriety, this story did. And I think the village itself, it didn't want to be known for that. I suppose back when it happened, maybe, but everything was kind of hush hush. Telesphore, he married again. He went on to marry again, this fella did. And he died on the 30th of August 1961, aged 78. Lived a nice long life, eh? He ended up living a nice long life. Now, remember I says that they obviously would have tried to keep it hush hush because there was a play in Quebec that started running a year after this happened. Now, this play went around Canada. It actually went on like a tour. And this play went on for like 25 years after it had happened. And it went on, and then they went to make a film about it back in 1950. And Telesphore, he tried to block it. He tried to block the film because he'd moved on. He'd got married. He maybe even went on to have more kids. I don't know. It doesn't say it, and I don't know. All it says is that him and his family tried to stop the film going ahead because it would how did he word it now? It would it kind of soil his name and bring it all back. Wow. But the film went ahead. I have watched that one. There's no subtitles with that one. Like I say, it's from 1951, and it's what you would imagine a 1951 film to be. It's so I wouldn't recommend if you do want to go away and watch it, because I feel like I've really not done the story justice like I would have liked this evening. There is another film that was done in 2005. It's just called Aurore. Okay. What I will say is, in the film there is a priest who he plays quite a big part within the film. He's supposed to have stopped them getting help for Aurora. He plays quite a big part. I found out since that was false. I think it was just done for the film itself. So that priest, although I presume there was a priest in the town, it was a Catholic town, the priest that was portrayed in the film wasn't actually a real person in real life. So I will let you know that, because when you watch the film, or if you watch the film, the priest will drive you crazy. The Marianne Hood and Telesphore, they're bad, but the priest will drive you mad. And I think it was just to make up the film, maybe. I don't know. I don't know why they do that when it's a true film. I imagine tweaking certain things, but to have an entire character and the story kind of revolve around a character, I think it's a bit odd, I think. But yeah, so it's just to let you know that character wasn't real. And in 2015, in Fortierville, obviously in Canada, Aurore Gagnon was recognised as a historical figure, and it took to 2015, so nearly 100 years for that to happen. I think maybe before then they were trying to keep it hidden. They didn't want negativity on their town. I presume now they've opened up their arms to it. Maybe since the film came out and everything else, and people felt so bad for this child, but not looking bad on the town. I'm not too sure, but that she's now a historical figure in that town. And that was the heartbreaking Aurore Gagnon story. Oh, I'm so sorry, everyone. I genuinely oh God. So who've you offended, sis? If you're watching tomorrow, I believe my sister's offended someone in the comments. Who've you gone at? I'll have a look now. It's a night for it to know, isn't it? Let's have a look. Uh, thank you, Warwick. Thank you. Thanks, Hayley. Thanks, sis. Thank you. Yeah, I'm just right. Please remember this trick. I'm trying to put comments with him. I completely accept all. Murphy or his family would. Oh yeah. Oh okay. I got ya. I got ya. So no one's actually been offensive then. We are, and it is a true crime channel. I understand that, but I think sometimes, I've got very dark humour. I have, and us as a family, we have. So I do have to try and keep it in check on here sometimes, not because of the live, but because obviously people will watch the next day, and you're always gonna annoy somebody or upset somebody. So I do try and keep it in check, but I know Tiffany can't do that. Oh, okay, okay. You're on that. Courtney, sorry. Jojo, I haven't met you. Sorry, I noticed you in there and you egging me on as well, which I really appreciate it. Phil, amazing again. Just having a look. I'm trying to follow it. You're really off, aren't you? You've been having fun this evening, which I love. Art of Deduction. Is Art of Deduction still here? Do we know your name? Do we know your name? Okay, who else? We've got Hayley. I've seen Hayley this evening. Is Ariane actually here now that I've done her story? Is she actually here? I'm sure I saw her earlier. But do you know what? All I want to say tonight is thank you. Thank you so much, because I've got to admit, when I got up and walked out, I'll share with you all now. When I got up and went out just to get a drink, I was like, do I go back? What do I do? What do I do now? So I just want to thank you all, because you've took your evening out, and which I appreciate anyway. And then there's such serious stories, and it is Bacardi o'clock now. It is Jojo. It's just I genuinely don't know what happened this evening. Everything just went, and then I started sweating, and it was just yeah. So just okay, sis, okay. But yeah, it's just been a crazy evening, and if Ariane is still here, I hope you don't. I hope you don't mind. I hope I'd done it justice at the end. But yeah, thank you all again. Thank you. And yeah, I'm gonna stop advising. Okay, yes, thank you. What's your name? Are you gonna tell us your name? Or we're calling you Art of Deduction every time? You don't have to, I understand. What would we used to Frank? There we go, Frank. Do you know my son, when he was 4, wanted to be called Frank? He wanted his name changed. He says, my name's now Frank. So I had a 4-year-old called Frank at one point. So yes, I know, I will remember that name. Yeah, because Ariane we used to call Curious Mind. That's what her name was on there. And I was like, what's your name? Because I can't keep saying Curious Mind. Charlotte. Oh, hi, Charlotte. I'll go until next week after work. Oh, look at you. It is jingle time. It is jingle time. Yes. Jojo, you're not aware. Frank, you're not aware. Charlotte, I don't know if you've seen my jingle. Yes. The jingle doesn't actually have music. So yeah, it's really odd. It's odd, but it's something that we do at the end of every story now. It's become a thing. So very quickly beforehand, if you know anything about Patreons, can you drop a comment in, because I want you to go and have a look at mine, not to join it or anything, just see what you think about the setup. But only if you are if you've already what do you do, follow the Patreon or join the Patreon or something, and then have a look at mine and see, does mine look like how it should be? And it's I don't use Discord, and I have heard of that as well, but I have got a Patreon, and it's patreon.com/, see that's new. Slash, wait, wait until you see the jingle. Slash Jess Rose 5472. That's my Patreon. And all I really want you to do is to go in there and look. Does it look like anyone else's Patreon that you might have joined? Just let me know if I've done what I'm supposed to do, because I don't know what I'm supposed to do on there. I have no idea. And yeah, it's something I've been told to do, and I didn't know what I was doing. So there's that. And now, yes. So if you're watching tomorrow, or if you're watching, no, we don't need to do that now because the comments stay on there, don't they? So if you could like, comment, and subscribe, guys. Just like, comment and subscribe, guys. Oh God, that's gonna cause like, comment, subscribe, guys. That Jojo, this you didn't know that's what was coming, did you? Like, comment. The reason, you know, when you see kids and they do they're really like chirpy with it and everything. I don't know how to do that, and I don't know how to ask people to do it. But that like, comment, subscribe, guys. Like, it's going all red. Did you see that? It's got like, comment, subscribe, guys, please. But yeah, that's the jingle. Jingle makes me tingle. That's good. Yeah, she hasn't met me for the whole hour. You finally meeting me. It's terrible. There's no need for it. There's just not. Look, come and subscribe, guys. Why does the breath holding come into play? I don't know why that comes into play, but it just, anyway. Right, okay. Jojo, Frank. Who else did we have? Charlotte. Then we've got Tiffany, Hayley, Warwick. I don't know if Natalie was here. Ariane, I don't know where she went. Kelly. I don't know if. Ooh, yeah, go on then. Oh, that'd be good, Frank. I don't know if I'm missing anyone, and I'm so sorry if I have. But I just want to, Courtney, and you. Oh God, I forgot she was there. That's my jingle, Court. Oh, you wouldn't have. Look, comment, subscribe, please. That's my jingle. There's another sister, people, and another one that's not impressed. Tiffany's only just got on board with it. I've got to find another one. Look, comment, subscribe. But it happens. It happens every time. I'm getting really hot again. Phil did. Oh, Phil, I'm sorry. Phil, I said you. Oh, look at that. I nearly forgot Phil. Do you know why that is, Phil? Because you wasn't here on Thursday. That's what happened. That's what happened. No, Phil, thank you so much. I never forget you. And Courtney, and yeah, look, comment, subscribe, please. It's people watching tomorrow. I don't think they'll get this far. I don't even think they'll get this far. It's just, but, and Kelly. Right, I'm going. Thank you all for joining me. If you've got any requests, drop it in the comments, or you could go to my Patreon at patreon.com/JessRose5472, or drop it in the comments. That's for a Tuesday. And now Thursday, if you can join us, it's my choice on Thursday. And I'll try not to have a meltdown halfway through. Thank you all so much, and have a fabulous evening. Bye. Like, comment, subscribe, guys, please. So I've got to try and do that and go without my finger on there. So I will get it. See you Thursday.